What started as a vanity move has now ended in a full-blown collapse. After waves of staff resignations and a growing list of performers walking away, Donald Trump has announced he's shutting down the Kennedy Center for at least 2 years, possibly longer. This comes after he slapped his name on it, illegally rebranded it as the Trump Kennedy Center, and then watched the place unravel almost immediately. Let's be clear, the Kennedy Center was thriving before Trump touched it. It was profitable. It was respected. It was a nonpartisan cultural institution and a national memorial to President John F. Kennedy. Within months of Trump's takeover, it was gutted, leadership fired, board members purged, artists fleeing, programming collapsing. Now Trump claims the solution is to shut the entire place down and rebuild it in his image. If this sounds familiar, it should. Trump has a long, well-documented history of running businesses into the ground after putting his name on them. Trump Vodka, Trump University, Trump Steaks, Trump Casinos, Trump Airlines, Trump Modeling, Trump Magazine, Trump Taj Mahal, and dozens more. The pattern never changes. Brand it, politicize it, hollow it out, blame everyone else, then walk away. Artists saw exactly where this was headed. Big names didn't just quietly disappear, they made statements. Renee Fleming withdrew. Philip Glass pulled the premiere of his Lincoln Symphony, saying the values of the Kennedy Center under Trump were incompatible with the work itself. The Washington National Opera left after more than 50 years. Hamilton canceled, saying the center's sacred nonpartisan mission had been destroyed. Even the U.S. Marine Band stepped back from a major event. This wasn't coincidence, it was a reaction. Trump now claims the shutdown is about revitalization and beauty and grandeur. But the Kennedy Center had already survived more than 50 years, including wars, recessions, and political turmoil without ever closing, except briefly during COVID. The only time it's been forced to shut its doors for years is after Trump took control.
Feeling like democracy died today. This is history happening today, and we should all be shocked that a felon, a convicted felon, and a thug, and by all means a grifter, has just stuck his name on top of a national monument. This is a desecration.
And the question no one in Trump's statement answers is the most basic one. Who's paying for this? Taxpayers? Donors who already walked away? Political allies being leaned on? Trump never says. What this really looks like is simple. Rather than admit his takeover failed, Trump would rather close a national treasure than let it exist without his name on it.
Well, here we are at the scene of yet another crime committed by Donald Trump. He has vandalized the Kennedy Center by putting his name on it. And he just needs to understand that, first of all, he can't do this single-handedly. Only Congress can authorize a change of name to the Kennedy Center. But yet he doesn't care about the law. He doesn't care what is appropriate. He's gone and vandalized the Kennedy Center, which is, we should note, the John F. Kennedy Memorial Center for the Performing Arts. It was named after President Kennedy after he was assassinated. Donald Trump should show some respect for that. But of course, he doesn't do that. And, this is what needs to be said. We, the American people, are not going to call the Kennedy Center the Trump Kennedy Center. Just like we're not going to call the Department of Defense the Department of War, or the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. We, the sane, rational American people, are not going to go along with that. So Trump can act like a child. He can be a vandal, put his name up on all of these buildings, but it's not going to change what the rest of us do in response to what has been a childish and lawless administration.
Instead of restoring the center's mission, he's freezing it, damaging its reputation, its finances, and its future.
It's really sad. The Kennedy Center had so many great missions, and it is a memorial as well. It's as close to sacred stuff as you can get for our federal government. But aside from that, it really is playing out roughly the way that it felt it would for me a year ago. And I'm not saying that I understood how events would unfold exactly, but it was clearly the first step it was an authoritarian move. It was an authoritarian first first step. And like, obviously they weren't going to start by trying to steamroller late night comedians. They thought they would run over us first. And that's much easier because it's close to home and they know what they're, you know, and they know how to do it. But now the things that are happening are no surprise because that's, you know, it wasn't just him. I think people misunderstand. It's not just him going in wanting to book bands or something. You know, it's commandeering, you know, the government's, the arts. And then from there, that's expression. That's freedom of expression. And from there, you move on to the networks and to Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel and 60 Minutes. And you just keep steamrolling. So I was sick on my stomach when I quit because one, I knew they were going to run in the ground. No one that they were appointing had any experience in arts administration, but that was never the point. The point was to take that, run over it and move on. So it's rotting over you know, next to the Potomac in the moment. And it's like, it's just sad, you know. I think, you know, artists, it's the same as I felt a year ago. I think that the responsibility and the right of artists is to express honestly. And it's a little bit sometimes like reportage, you know, it's a little bit like journalism. And I think that is what artists need to do right now while we still can. Obviously, you don't have to do it at the Kennedy Center. It was an amazing place with an amazing mission and all kinds of, you know, access to facilities, and it was beautiful. And by the way, it used to make, you know, some money, and now it's like not run well. But the artist right now, we should all be expressing ourselves with there was a time, I think, and I came up in this era of the 90s, this sort of shut up and sing era where you're worried you're going to alienate your artist. I think right now is the time to absolutely stand up and express yourself. If that's political, do it. If it's social, do it. If it's what you love for lunch, hey, that's fine too. But be honest in your reporting, because you may not have that luxury if we keep going like we're going. Better to do it now. Better to show up at the protest now than have to show up in the protest in a year and worried about getting, you know, jailed and killed. It's now is the time to, and the artist's job has always been to be a little ahead of the curve where things are going. The artist can explain that in terms that no one else is allowed to. It doesn't have to make sense. It has to feel right. And that's what moves people. And the reason the arts are important, and all these people said they weren't important, that were on the right side of the government, that said, arts don't matter, we don't need to fund it. Boy, they sure thought it was important when it came to the Kennedy Center. They took that over in like 1 month. So the arts are important, and the artist is really needed right now.
The Kennedy Center didn't fail on its own. It was driven into the ground fast by the same playbook Trump has used for decades. And now, just like so many Trump-branded ventures before it, the doors are closing. Not because it couldn't survive, but because Trump touched it